this game. Been in this thing for a while. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Been in this thing for a while. Been in this thing for a while. Been in this thing for a while. You don't even know my pain. You can't even match my style. You don't even know this game. Been in this thing for a while. Yeah, 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 yeah. Been in this thing for a while. Been in this thing for a while. Yeah.
Hey, yo, what it do? What the business is, you have made it to another Friday. Pat yourself on the back, black man. Made it another week, man.
Yeah.
Then you get to chill for the weekend, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to us, you know, you're hearing the smooth sounds of my voice, man. You know where you at, man. You know where you made it to. This is another week in the books. I am Spike Lou. Mo, what's up?
Hey, what's happening, man? We here, we back. Like you said, y'all on this side still breathing if you can hear us. So, man, black brothers, even our black sisters, and even if you ain't black, y'all are here at this moment. Man, just embrace this moment. It's Friday, man. Come on.
You think non-black people listen to this show?
I would love to know. I think maybe Dan. I don't know how often.
The one white dude.
I mean, you know.
Wonder how many
I
times
would if we have a white listener, I would please reach out to us, awitb2022@gmail.com. Please reach out, or our Instagram page. Like, I would be so intrigued. We would embrace you with such love and grace. I just really I would pick your brain. I gotta know.
What would be the most interesting thing that you want to know? Like, what would you ask them?
Why, with this show being as black as it is, why do you keep coming back? Like, do you think
they can relate?
I think this is more relatable. I just think that our buzzwords would take people out of it. I think we have these different buzzwords we use that make it very clear who we're talking to. And so when that happens, I feel like it corners us. And so for somebody to hear all those buzzwords of black culture, you know, all these different things we use to classify that we're talking to us, and they still stick around, I will be very intrigued to say, I don't care nothing about none of those buzzwords. Like, I take it just in general. You know, I would love to know that. And that's one of my challenges with our show. This is one of my, just an internal thought of mine.
What's that? Is it too black?
It is. It is, but it
you think it's too black?
It's yeah, it's too black. Like, it doesn't.
I don't agree with that. Because I think you saying that means that just too normal. Like, we not doing anything overly black on here. We just being ourselves. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Like, it's they're ends of the spectrum way beyond us. When you talking about like he's acting like,
I mean, okay, we're not.
There's
the black meter's
way. Yeah, the spectrum is way down when you talking about okay, y'all being too black as far as what we doing right here.
Okay, well, there's miles to go to get to that level. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, miles to go. And the reason that I challenge you on is because I feel like some of it can be catered to black people, but I do think overall these are conversations that men have. We just so happen to be black and have a black perspective on them. I do think if white, Latina, or however they want to be referred to, or whatever nationality would listen to this, and they would really be listen as a man versus a white man or a black man or an Asian man. If they listen just as a man, I think there's some similarities
I
there.
think we got to change our motto.
I don't want to do that though.
See?
I want them to know it's black. I want them to know it's black.
They know it's black though.
Do they?
This tone, bro. I know I know us so well. Even biracial, like even biracial black, I can hear the voice and know like he gotta have black in him. I don't have to see his face.
I just change that, dude.
Okay, so then that's what I'm saying. Okay, I don't have to We had this conversation about.
So what do you mean?
Okay, so remember we had the conversation, taking it back to some old chapters. Shouts out to the day ones, day twos, but we was talking about Idris Elba. And he was like, I don't want to be classified as a black actor. I just want to be classified as an actor. And me and you had totally different views on it because you felt like he was like kind of like disowning being black or disowning black community. And I said, no, I don't think so. I think he's removing the additional classification because I wear it. This is who I am. I can't change it. I am black. When I'm on screen, I'm black. I'm British. Whatever.
But you're not though.
Okay, well, but okay,
though,
but
right?
remember, I get that. Yeah, we know that. It's a little Jace, whatever. But like,
Okay.
so our show is like we're clearly black, you know. And the challenge for me is I'm about, because we're in this. You're doing some producing or executive producing. I'm doing that. I'm enjoying the space of helping people develop shows. I feel I found a new love in doing that. And what I realize is I'm about a niche market. And where the challenge will be for us is it's great that our motto is, you know, elevating conversation amongst black men, which is necessary. But black men are not I don't know how we sell to black men when they're not the ones that are spending top dollars.
You don't know that. Don't say that. What are you basing that on?
I've seen let's go by albums. He said, who bought the most albums?
That's a rap though. Black men spend money on stuff that they like.
Yeah, but are they going to spend enough are they going to spend enough to have us leave our job though?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's too many examples for it not to be like, who do you think support like Joe Budden and DJ Academics, and Charlamagne the God? Like, what do you think that support like generates or stems in? Like the root of their fan base is black men.
I believe it's probably
Pivot.
more. It's
one of your favorite
more.
podcasts, The Pivot.
Okay. See, but look at where you're going. You said Charlamagne the God. What is he on? Breakfast Club.
All right.
Breakfast Club is syndicated, so it's probably, if not equal, more that are not black.
But he got a whole network outside of that though, the Black Effect Podcast Network.
Okay,
be able to be able to do that, get the funding for that, you have to have your primary fan base. I think it's a lot of people out there.
Well, here's what I'm saying though, bro.
You may not even know. I just said big names though. Like there's a lot of little YouTube dude. Well, I ain't even gonna call them little. That's hating. There's a lot of YouTube dudes or regular podcast people that I may not even heard of. They're like, man, I ain't worked a job in 4 or 5 years, just because I got a loyal 1,000 listeners and I know how to market and make money off those 1,000 people. It don't gotta be tens of thousands of people.
No doubt.
You just gotta know how to mobilize the 1,000.
No doubt. But I think if we're looking at this as equivalent to like a rap career, or we're looking at it like a mixtape journey or whatever, it's like at some point I need that pop feature. You know, I'm looking at it like when I was just listening to rap before, like, you know, we got to this age, kind of what we're talking about today, but like I fell on the same wave as, they selling out. Now they doing a pop feature. You know what's gonna be next? They're gonna go all the way. But now being in this space that we are, it's like, nah, I need that pop feature because I need to reach more than just us. Because, bro, Does that pop feature do it though?
Well, let me ask you this question because this has been on my mind and it's kind of relevant and it'll kind of bring everything full circle. Would you rather, for a career, would you rather be let's say an artist came out, first album, did Snoop Dogg numbers, like you did 10 million you went diamond,
like 50
on your first album.
Snoop.
You was young, you were 19, 20 years old. Let's say that's one. Okay. You could be that person, right? But you never had another hit album after that. I'm talking about you went wood, pause, after that. Would you rather be that or would you rather be Currency?
You ain't better comparison. No, you can't use Currency.
Why is that?
Currency,
why you can't?
He's trash.
You got to use it better. I'm asking, have you seen this? You realize that he's still relevant, right?
Yeah, he eats.
So you don't even got to like him. It's even better that you don't like him.
It's hard, bro. I can't take my bias out. This one, I'll be all the way real. I can't take my bias out. He's whack to be.
What's the bias about though? Like his rap styles don't have anything to do with this question. Would you have a? So you're saying like a long, so like a mixtape artist?
Okay.
A long, sustainable career with a true and dedicated fan base over the span of possibly 20 years. He probably going on 25 years now. Over the span of 20 years versus I had one album 20 years ago. It went diamond. I may never have to work again, but that was it. That was the height of my success.
I mean, we look at Snoop though. You said Snoop first album, but we got to take everything encompassing with that. So if we look at it, it's like, okay, I know I'm not nowhere near that level, that 19-year-old rapping with Snoop, popping my, you know what I mean, getting it off. But I can do just enough to kind of keep floating, keep people interested. People are buying, okay, they know the rap is not as good, but now I'm developing into something else. Sure. On paper, absolutely currency. Like, give me that consistent. I've talked about it, like having more of a low-key career where I got this fan base that follows me. That's like, you know the name Maurice Hunt III, like quietly, either you know or you don't know. Like producer tag type, like people know, like, oh, I know this dude, like he be behind the scenes. Like, I don't really know what he look like, but I hear this name. Sure. But at the same time, being in the position that I am in from a home life standpoint, everything has to be intentional. So I'm looking at the whole landscape of it. It's great to, you know, do that, but it's like I need to create leverage so I can create dollars. And for me, if we're only reaching our people only, it's a longer grind. And I don't have that kind of time. That's what I'm saying. Not to say, oh, I'm about to quit, but I'm saying I don't have that kind of, because it's a sacrifice, like I've spoke for, you know, with everything I got going on. So it's like, for me, leverage. How do you get leverage? You need numbers. How do you get numbers? Of course, we know marketing. There's stuff we haven't tapped into, of course, but like, how can this reach further than just our community where it's talking on a human level? And that's why I'm like, well, does it need to be rebranded from a slogan standpoint in order to do that? Do we need to bring in a woman and a woman base? Like what?
You said something key there that I don't think that you can skip over. And
okay,
it's the reason that most businesses fail. It's the reason that most businesses make the wrong decisions because, like you just said, and I'm in sales, so I deal with this all the time. Mm-hmm. Of course, we know we need marketing, but we'll skip over that. That's the most important part. Like, there's two reasons to have a business. Either you solving a problem or you fixing a need. Like, you solving a problem for somebody or fix some invention that you had, or you're supplying a need to people out there that want it every day. That need doesn't have to be supplied to a million or millions of people. It just needs to be sustainable enough for you to make it sense to be running a business. So when I say marketing is one of the most important things, it's a lot of people that don't even know what you do. And I ain't talking about you specifically.
Yeah,
I'm just
got you.
Generally,
they have no idea. Yeah,
smaller businesses, people trying to grow their base. Me and Dro talked about this. Like, you can't skip over the marketing part and say, yeah, but I need the big feature and I need to be able to reach these millions of homes. I need to go pop. And I think that's part of the when people gripe about people selling out in hip hop, it's like, well, you didn't fully maximize the fan base that you had before you jumped ship and you went to this bigger piece of the pie that you quote unquote thought you had because you felt like you needed it, but you left all of these people hanging that you could have gotten. And that comes from the lack of marketing, the people that don't know you yet, the people who may be on the fence, but they ain't trying to spend no money yet. You still can convince them. And who knows in convincing them how lucrative that can be. But if you leave that place and be like, well, I know I need this.
It's not leaving.
And you skip the marketing part. Well,
expanding.
I ain't talking about leaving. Changing.
Expanding.
It's changing. It's changing.
Okay. Right? In expansion, there will be some changes.
You're saying that versus this being a space for this, let's expand it. But the only reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just speaking here. You're saying that because you feel like it would cast a wider net. But what about the people who are here now? And there are a lot more people like them that you haven't reached yet. But what about those people who, when you're casting a larger net, they're like, well, damn, y'all just switched it up on us. Like, I came here every week and this was my place. This is my safe haven. Now versus catering to me, you're trying to cater to her. You're trying to cater to Billy. You're trying to cater to Luis and Zal and all of these people. when I'm right here I'm Maurice, man, and I thought that y'all was my niggas.
Okay.
And it turns out, had I just focused on the Maurice and the other Maurice and the other Lawrence and whatever it may be, I could have got what I wanted from that, but I just didn't do it properly. I thought that you had to skip a step to get over here to get the rest of the people, and I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I'm not disagreeing you, and maybe
Oh, I like this.
expanding your horizons at some point, but I do feel like a lot of times us black men, like you said, what we're talking to, I feel like that we think that we have to jump ship to a bigger thing because we haven't exploited all of the opportunity within us. And that's how you get to this big division amongst how that nigga think he this and think he that. He went and sold out as to what you were talking about, because we don't really dig deep into our base, our fan base.
So what's digging deep into our base? What does that look like? What, just give me one example of what you feel would be digging deep for our base.
Have to do more stuff.
Okay.
And that's the answer every time. And people hate it. I told you I was having the a meeting with DeadEnd, and it was like a circle. Like, okay, well, how do we do it? And the answer continuously is, well, okay, if that's it, then you have to give the people more stuff, because if they have more stuff, then it's more stuff for them to share. It's more times that they're going to be looking at it, then there's more times that they can go talk about it. And of course, you got to do marketing too. You have to have a professional outlook on, okay, this is how you get people's attention. Too often we take for granted, oh, I got this many people's attention just off talent, I can continue to grow my fan base just off talent. But my personal beliefs is that's not the case. I need a professional marketer to say, like, okay, no, here is a strategy to grow your base.
I think it depends. I do think it depends, because I used to.
Okay.
I was once on the side, talent drives it all. Then
They don't.
Right. And so that's where I was at one point when I was doing music. I was like, well, this talent is going to drive. And then I came on the other side, the Dr. Dre mentality, consistency beats out talent when talent isn't consistent. So then I fell on that wave where it's like, okay, so it's more than just the talent. It's other factors like marketing. But then what brought me what I realized is, like, there's two ways of how the trajectory can go. It's I have a good product, people don't know about it, but the marketing will turn this good product to a great product based on the numbers. And then the other side is the product that I have is so great, it's growing word of mouth. And I haven't, like, when it comes to, like, I can't tell you, and I really will know when I do the book, but, like, I don't know how many, like, people just watching my Instagram. I don't never post on my Instagram until it's like that. And again, it's not like, oh, I got thousands and thousands of likes or replies or whatever, but it's like these people coming out of nowhere, never DM me, never like, oh yeah, I can't wait. Where's this coming from? I'd never put no marketing dollars into this, never been. So there's, like, for example, like a Bryson Tiller. This man had Don't before it was actually hot. The song just slowly caught fire. No real marketing. Slowly caught fire.
Behind it. He got a team behind that song.
Bro, this man is from Kentucky, bro.
He realized the people were liking the song, and it reached its potential as to where he could get it based off talent. And when you see it doing that as a business person, you're like, oh shit, this may have the opportunity to be bigger. I've taken it as far as I can take it. Let me put some money or some bartering system where I can get somebody to do some marketing from, and let's take it to the next level. And then that's when you get the Bryson Tiller Don't that you got. But I guarantee you something changed from everybody loves this around Kentucky, because he was pushing that song for how many years?
I don't know, maybe 2.
It was a long time, right?
Yeah, probably 2, 3.
I think it was longer than that. I think I've heard 5 in passing.
5 at most, but I mean that song would sound a lot more dated if it was 5 years prior.
You update it, and that's the thing, and that's when I said you do more stuff, because now you see that your natural talent has gotten you to, and this business 101.
Yeah.
Your natural talent has gotten you to one place. Okay, cool. I know that I'm not a complete loser at this. I know that there may be something out there. All right, so now from natural talent, I need to make an investment to make sure that more people can see it. And preferably that's going to be from a professional person who knows how to market, who does something that I don't do. Because remember, I'm the natural talent. I can't assume that I'm the smartest person in the room and think that I'm brilliant at marketing too. Now you're doing too much. But once you get that professional person on that knows how to market your product, that goes to, like I said, the round circle of now I have to do more stuff. Just like with Bryson Tiller, he knows, okay, I've hired this person because I think this song got legs. I got to go back to the studio. Not only do I need to touch up this song because more people are going to be hearing it now, I need more songs. I need another mixtape. I need to have this shit ready for when it do spike or when it do pop off, I'm continually hitting them with what they need. So when you ask me about us, and I know this is a pipe dream because both of us are really busy, but when you look at yourself and you say, well, what more could I do to grow my business? And this like, us beyond us, I got to just do more stuff. Like you see how Joe Budden grew from where he is to where he is now.
We need
that
a
come from podcasting 5 days out of the week, 4 days out of the week. Joe Rogan.
I get that.
Bill Simmons. Any big podcaster that you see, they are recording and putting content out 3 to 5 times a week.
That's fine. But these guys are guys that were on television. Like let's find somebody that's a little bit more like, yo, this nigga was just a podcaster only. And that nigga went from
academics.
He was a YouTuber. Okay. All right. I'll give you that. That's fine.
I mean,
that's fine. I'll give you academics. That's fine.
But you listen to a lot more independent stuff than I do.
Yes.
You would say, right?
Yeah. Because I need to know, like the scene from Martin, like, man, I'm trying to get to the yams. I need to know, like I'm listening to people when they're saying, hey, we're busy this week. We had to do a job. I was like, okay, they ain't quite made it yet. I'm listening to other people. It's like, yeah, I had to put this. Okay. So I'm trying to put the pieces together on how to get there. So yeah, you're right in what you're saying as far as the marketing goes.
Those are the pieces though.
But that's what I'm saying. So like if we approach
around it.
But we need we need an additional person. We need if anybody's listening, if y'all want to see this thing grow, y'all want to be able to get like more than one episode out in a week, because we would love to be able to do that full time. We need a marketer. And from that point, Spike, I want to throw the ball back in your court. What do you say? You're the salesman. We're both the talent. You're the salesman. Both talent. I'm a producer. When he says, okay, what's this brand? Well, there's plenty of black men having therapeutic conversation. There's plenty of black podcasts. Probably is, bro. It's millions of podcasts. It probably is. We don't. So
we just don't know, like they don't know us.
Yeah. So what? Like on Olivia Soprano, what makes you so special? How do you approach that?
Special?
Yeah. Well, how do you approach that on? Because me and you both feel like this is special. Our listeners, shouts out to y'all that are listening every Friday. I gave us that wonderful Thanksgiving episode. They feel that obviously something niche about what we're doing that they may not have been tapped into other places. But how do we convey that when it's like, okay, the numbers are not where we need them to be, but the brand and the product is there. We want to work with you. This is the difference from us from others. That's where I be mentally trying to figure out. I'm not a salesman, so I can sell something. Don't get it twisted, but I'm not a salesman, so I never know where to go from there.
I can sell something.
I can sell something.
You think you just like retail sales? You talking about? Or what we speaking about?
I mean, anything from like as far as like a concept. Like I can sell a concept from a creativity standpoint.
You're not.
I can sell a product too. I think
Richie. You're not Richie.
Definitely not Richie.
Not Richie.
I'm definitely a Ralph Cifaretto in the selling aspect.
I'm not mad at you for that. All right. So what makes you different from those people? You named it when you said all of the famous people that I named. Those people were on TV before.
Okay.
So if I'm talking to a big, like if I'm talking to iHeart or I'm talking to a bigger podcast network, Barstool, and they say, okay, well, what's the appeal of this show?
Mm-hmm.
We've never had that experience that most famous podcasters had of, okay, I was famous before and people are listening to me because I was famous before. It just so happened that I was good at this. Joe Budden, Pat McAfee, Gilly, Wallow, Nori, all of these people have had previous careers.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm making a pitch to the people in the boardroom or an investor that's saying, well, why should I invest in this show? The voice of the normal American black man is not anywhere. It's nowhere in the stratosphere.
What do you mean normal, Spike Lou?
Normal. Like I wasn't a rapper. I wasn't a writer. I wasn't a sports athlete. I wasn't any of these things. I just picked up a microphone. It just so happened that I was good at this and consistent enough to do this where people take me seriously as a professional. So the only way that you'll get a feel like this from a podcast, pause, and it still be as professional is going with someone like me who's been doing it, or you who's been doing it for a while, who take this serious. And guess what? On top of that, you have a story behind it. These two brothers, they, like Brentel said, shout out to him, these two brothers have never met each other. But you go back through this catalog and you listen to some of these shows, and I have them on the PowerPoint there. You listen to them, some of these shows, you see how transparent that these brothers can be with each other. Now, keep in mind, they met each other 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Gilly and Wallow are related. They can act that way with each other. They have that. That's his family. So when you really start digging into the depths of what this is, and it's just two random black men having conversation who are really good at it. They don't suck. They're not stumbling over their words. They're not drunk, bickering and going back and forth. It's a really eloquent conversation for what we're doing. And it's beyond the main stuff that you see out here. It's not sports. It's not this date was $200. It's not, oh, I boned on the first night. Let me tell you about Tasha. It is a deeper conversation. And that's why people who write in, they say, okay, well, damn, this special. I don't really hear niggas talk about this. When I be wanting to have these conversations, usually it doesn't happen. There's nowhere in the world that you can go get this as people not kind of look at you weird, because these aren't conversations that we have in public. So you're taking that private conversation and you're making it public amongst a vast majority of not only men, not only black men, but now you have people who may want to understand black men better. You have businesses who may want to understand black men better. They can listen to this. And now I know how to sell to you. Now I know how to advertise to you. Now I know how to market to you. Not someone who's filthy rich like a Joe Budden, but someone who's normal, someone who makes nice money, who can go out and afford and buy things. I know how to market to that person. All of that comes from the conversations that you and I have, the people who listen to us, who give us feedback, who hit me outside of this and say, hey, y'all should talk about this, or who want to come on the show. All of that comes from, we're not rappers or superstars. We're not these people who had these careers prior to doing this. But this is the beginning for us. And usually in podcasts and the people that you hear the most of, it was not the beginning for them. I heard a but. You're going to be in sales, you can't use but, you got to say however.
Okay. However.
But it has a negative connotation.
Okay. I hear what you're saying, Spike Lou, but you didn't sell me on it. And the reason you didn't sell me on it is because you're trying to sell me on belief, and you're not giving me factual things. I think, and so
all of that was fact though. That wasn't belief.
Well, here's what I'm saying. You're saying there's no other you for you to be a salesman. I have
to speak indefinite like that.
Okay, but
I don't know that person.
Right, but here's what I'm saying.
I believe that.
Right, but I think that you got to be more specifics. As far as, because you're saying, oh, we're not this, that, all of these things of saying what we're not is turning me off as an investor. So I think an
example of what you mean.
You're saying, oh, well, we didn't have a career prior to this is what made me high. Exactly. That's why I invest over there with the Joe Buddens. We're your normal people. Oh, so I think you're on to something, but I think the approach of what you're saying.
You can't do that though. You kind of left it hanging. We're the normal people, but what would be the objection to that though?
Well, it's just like so what? Why do I'm saying if as an investor, like, okay, what's the appeal?
That's a great question.
You're saying we're normal black men. So what?
That's a great question. There are more normal black men out there that you need to get the ear of than there are people like Joe Budden.
And so how many?
That's the appeal.
And I guarantee that somebody will be like, and the normal black men are listening to Joe Budden.
Right.
And so where do you fit in it? Why would they?
That's an amazing question, Maurice. That's why we're in here with you, because we know partnering with your brand and the marketing and the dollars that you're going to put behind us, this is what they'll be listening to in 2 months. Because now you have the power to push what we're saying this is. But all pitches are a dream, bro. There are no facts in pitches.
No doubt.
So there's nothing that I'll be able to say, hey, this is a definite, this is going to happen. Business plan, pitches, all of that shit's a dream. It's shit that you're hoping will happen. So as soon as somebody, like you said, throws it back on me like that, great. I'm glad you asked. That's where you come in. Now you feel important. Now you got to be a part of it. Now for this to work, you have to be as equally invested as I am. Are you willing to do that with me? No? Okay, then you go to Joe Budden. This ain't the place for me. Like, you got to be able to say that too.
Of course.
You got to be able to be like, okay, well, fuck y'all. Y'all don't see the vision. I'm going to do like Rockefeller, and we're going to go do this shit on our own. So.
Yeah, I'm going to start thinking about that a little more because I'm thinking about, I know Animal Brown was talking about that book, that conversation book or whatever he was talking about, that kind of like getting to your point quickly or whatever, something like that. I ain't read the book, but it's something that I have tried to master the art of, like at work with people, because I used to be very long-winded, so I try to get to the point quickly. But yeah, so with something like this is something I'm definitely going to start to consider and think about a little bit more, as far as we know what we are, we know what we're not. Now, how does our coverage in the content, because in my head, when you were saying, I'm thinking, okay, while the people that, it's almost like, okay, let's find like the numbers of Joe Budden, like where it was, like trying to figure out. And of course, we're using Joe Budden as a standard because to us, he's probably like he's a standard. Okay, we want to cover everything that's not there. To me, that's the selling point. We're covering everything that some will come over there and listen to us on a different day of the week for podcasts. But also, how do we cover all those that were over there and don't go there anymore? That's what I'm trying to figure out, how to, because what we're saying we are is great, but what can we assure based on what we've developed already and what we do? Because if we say, okay, what do you think you can do for us to get the return? You see what I'm saying? So it's like we're saying, oh, we're normal black men.
So, what's in your mind? What's an assurance?
Okay, so
like, what are you speaking of? If you're looking for an assurance, what type of assurance are you looking for?
Okay, so let's say we're taking the normal black men approach, or we'll figure out how to reword it or whatever. We're saying, hey, look, we represent the everyday person with the everyday struggle. So I think, again, this is where we always going to differ. Of course, we're speaking of we're black men with our black experience, but I'm saying the everyday people. That's my approach with it. Yeah. Okay, so everyday people. So we're saying our appeal is that we have the quality and we have the production and content of a Joe Budden and Joe Rogan. However, we represent a niche market of your everyday people through the lenses of a black man. People are very interested and people follow our culture and they follow things, but a lot of people are wanting to get more details and understanding of it. And that's where we come in. Some kind of way, like trying to bring it to, we have to.
You just said what I said in another way, bro. Like, okay.
I don't think you said it that way, bro. I mean, I don't think that's what.
Said, it was the same sentiment you said in another way.
Okay, so then
I
we
guess
need
what
to.
I'm asking you, what I'm asking you is, your skepticism comes from there are no assurances. So let's say you're the person signing the check, and someone comes in and pitches you.
I'm sorry, that's not where that drives my skepticism. Sorry, I know there's never no assurances. This is not that's
what you just spoke to, though. That's what you just said. I want to. What do you mean when you say assurances? That's the word that I'm getting hung up on. Okay,
so assurances, as far as being assured that we can cover this market. Like when we don't, if we can't explain what we're covering, like you're saying, like, okay, the normal black man, okay, that's cool. But
see,
you see what I'm saying? Like it's a whole lot of $200
real quick. Let me address that. So that's where the numbers would come in at. They don't have to be through the roof, but when you're at that phase, and of course this is impromptu that you and I are talking, the assurances are coming in. Well, I know my data, and I know men between 18 and whatever 49 listen to me. I know how long they listen. I know that this is where they listen. Those are the assurances. Okay. The only assurances that you will have are the statistics. Now, the important thing about that, to clarify it, there are two ways that you can do that. Ken and I had this conversation the other day. Shout out to him, DeadEnd Sports, and he was trying to relay this to people. And I found it really interesting the way that he phrased it. After they signed a deal, he was like, bro, nobody's coming to save you.
Yeah.
It's just not, that's not a thing in the space that we're in.
Of course.
You're going to have to, and I ain't speaking to you directly, I'm just speaking to everybody listening to this, or anybody that has a dream or wanting to start a business or small business and they want to do something different from what they're doing. Our biggest mistake sometimes is thinking, oh, we just have to have this right and somebody will come in and give me money. Somebody will come in and help me invest. Somebody will sign me to their label or sign me to their network or deal. You have to look at it like no one is coming to save you. So what can I do to make it maintainable and satisfiable for me before I even get to the point of having those conversations with them, or while I'm in the process of having the conversation? And that goes back around to the circle that I was talking about with marketing, wanting to add more people or or having to do more things. The way that you avoid being in those rooms and someone saying, like you just said, well, there are no assurances. You should be able to be confident enough in your product. Well, like my assurances are, I make a living off this every year. I make enough money to feed my family. I make enough money to feed myself. And then that comes from, again, the things that the more that you could be putting into what you're doing. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Well, listeners, we just let y'all in on breaking the fourth wall. I know some of y'all listen, y'all don't know the numbers, y'all don't know how far along or how not far along it is, but I know that y'all tune in every weekend. Understand that Spike Lou, he's going as diligent as he can, being involved in upward of 4 or 5 podcasts, right?
It's up to like 7.
Okay, so he's doing 7 podcasts, and he's afforded that based on how he's moving out here.
I record in addition to working 40 hours a week. I know I record at least 15 hours a week.
Okay, so that's a whole nother gig.
Part-time, yeah, whole nother part-time.
That's a whole nother gig right there. So, yeah, part-time, exactly. And for me on the other side, having a wife and 2 children and a newborn, and turning around and spinning these episodes back at y'all and keeping it quality, keeping the content as great as we know how to. Breaking the fourth wall to say that, like, y'all, I mean, we've said it before, it's not easy, and this is not whoa, it's me, y'all give us a couple dollars so we can leave our jobs. But it's like the reality of the situation is like it's real work doing this often as we do it, and sometimes on air we'll have these conversations because that's what we do as brothers, and we'll let y'all in on that.
So, I think people listening to this would be interested in that conversation. I think it's something that even if you're building a small business outside of this, not just you and I think this applies to anyone trying to figure it out. Like and it sounds crazy and cliche to say, but you just got to do more until you've done enough that you're comfortable. And then once you're comfortable, you need to turn that comfort into, all right, now let's really turn it up to, I want to make this big, or pause, this big, or this big, or this big. But at first, I think, in my opinion, the first step that you have to get to is doing enough where you're good. I can do what I love to do, and I can feed my family, and I can do everything I need to do. I ain't trying to live lavish or be rich, but I do make enough from doing this, but I don't need a job.
Sustainability.
Keep a job. Yeah, and then once you get to a sustainable, that's the first platform. The next one is, okay, how big do I want to make this? Pause. Jesus. Like, how big am I trying to make this and turn this thing into?
You should probably replace this. You should probably replace this to the podcast.
I want to be a multi-millionaire. Yeah. How big do I want? No, I'm trying to make it general for people. If you're starting a disposal company, if you're starting a security business, if you're starting anything, it's like, okay, I making enough money where I can make a living off. It's like, now, how many people do I want to employ?
Yeah.
How big do I want? How many houses do I want? Like, what type of ring do I want my wife to have? I want my kids to go to private school, they gonna go to public school. Like, that's when you start thinking about, okay, how hard do I have to go for what I'm doing? And I think a lot of people just try to skip steps, and they think that at some point it's all going to change and they're going to hit a home run, and it's like, boom, now everything's working.
Right.
And most of stuff don't fall out that way.
But the other side of it, though, like you right, people try to skip steps, but the other side of it is sometimes people go too long when they should have made the pivot. When they should have made a pivot or should have done an adjustment. And that's a hard call to figure out, is this the moment to have the adjustment? You know, or is it a year from now? Is it a few? That's probably, to me, that's probably even crazier than the skip is when do we need to make the adjustment? What's the confirmation that, okay, the progression of the steps are proper in what's going on? How consistent do you need to be for so long before you say, okay, there's an upward trajectory happening, or it's a consistent flow? Do I need to make an adjustment? That's more of the challenge to me than anything. And I think that, of course, like I said, Dr. Dre, consistency beats out talent, but that's more of a challenge when you talk about not just podcasters, but anybody, black men, people in general. You out there trying to develop something and you want to skip steps more than skipping steps, because you definitely need, shouts out to Big Crit with the song Steps, but knowing when you got to make the adjustment, and that's a hard call because you don't know what to base it off of.
You don't? You don't think so? You know what?
Well, let's say your numbers drop by 10.
Here's why I asked you that. Here's why I asked you that, because
all right,
I take rappers for example. Like, you see, well, that may be too easy of an example, but I'll give you
that's too easy.
But you see the niggas is like older rapping that ain't made it yet, and you look at him like, I wonder, do he know he bullshit? Like, still trying to.
That's
like, I'm trying to catch a hit at 30. That was too easy, right?
Yeah, because that's a space that's built around age, so it's a clear indication. Something like this is a lot different, or even starting a business is not built on contingent on age, so that makes it okay.
Let's take something like this. You ask yourself, okay, how much do I enjoy doing it? Right? Like, is it something that I can do even if I never see myself making a shit ton of money from it? Like, do I feel like that my voice or the people that I talk to that listen to this on a weekly basis isn't important enough to them and to me to continuously do it? I think that's the first thing of consideration that comes up to, like, how important or how much do I like doing this? Because it's like you said, this isn't an age-dominated space.
Mm-hmm.
You can catch on when you're 50
mm-hmm.
and have a following like fucking Joe Rogan, and now you're like, look at you make $200 million in a year. Or you can talk into this microphone till you're 60 and no one ever pay attention to it. But then if you're doing that, what you seriously have to ask yourself, and I think this is what people do again outside of this, how serious am I taking this? Like, it takes a lot to build a business, to maintain something where you're not going to punch a clock for 40 hours a week. Like, it's going to be very difficult to do it half-assed or at a pace where I'm doing it in my free time. At some point in time, before you quit, you have to ask yourself, how hard did I actually go at it? How many sacrifices did I actually make to achieve my goal? Did I stay up till 3 o'clock doing video edits when I knew I had to be at work at 8? And how much did that help me? Or how much did that help me or hurt me? Like how much am I really putting in? I know that's probably the thing, even though I said I record 20 hours a week. It is.
Because you really don't know.
That's why everybody don't got a business. Bro, that's why everybody don't do it. And that's the thing. People don't talk about that enough.
No.
When they talk about starting business, because even with this, even with me telling you I record this many hours a week and I do this and have a full-time job, even with me telling you all of that, there's still in my mind, like, you could be doing a lot more, bro. You should be doing a lot more. You're in the position that you're in because you haven't taken the responsibility to do a lot more.
What do you think? What do you think when you say, what do you mean you can do more? Like, realistically, based on your role, what do you mean you could do more?
For me personally,
as a podcaster,
personally, there could be more networking. I could have a wider database or learn more technical skills for me, because like what needs to be done for me is all of the content that I'm able to do over a weekly basis to be cut up and split amongst social media sites.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Right.
Nor do I have a relationship with anyone that does know how to do that. So when I say I could be doing a lot more between working,
how do you feel about
recording
investing?
15 hours? That's something that I'm open to. But then again, investing in like,
well, I'm saying like, let's say
business.
like a Fiverr, like they say, hey,
right.
There's a person out there to say, hey, yo, we can grow this. It's official. You're looking at the reviews at the bottom saying, hey, we'll do this many video edits for $40. Because while there is that conversation with yourself, anybody listening, it's like, oh, I can do more. There's also, you got to come to a certain realization with who are you and where do you work best? Because while you may be able to do more, or you may need to figure out if you can or can't. It could be a thing. Was like
more is that though, like you're saying, it's not I'm necessarily doing the shorts. It's like you said, knowing the person or making the payment for that person to do it. I haven't done that. So when I say do more, it ain't necessarily feeling like I got to sit there and edit the videos or I got to learn how to market on social media. Is that those things need to be in place. And I know that, and they're not. That still leaves me with a feeling of, yeah, the reason you're in this position because these things haven't happened, and they haven't happened because of you. I think that's a realistic stance that most people should take.
It is, but I also think that it's always got me, and I imagine you probably can think that way too. Maybe not, but like a lot of these, we compare to rappers. Obviously, we try to not be stereotypical, but that's one of those things that are just very in your face when we talk about, a coming of age story. There's this team aspect, and that's the thing. And you sent me a clip a little bit ago. I don't know if it was a dad or a father just talking about people doing the thankless jobs, so to speak, the jobs that people don't want to do, like the newer generation don't want to do anymore. And that's kind of makes me think about this, where people, when you want to build you need a team, because you can't wear every hat, Spike Lou. I can't wear every hat. It's just not going to happen. Like, you're doing 7 podcasts. I'm doing 2 to 3, who knows, 4 really when you add, and then going home, having to do all my home responsibilities and work and whatever. So we need more of a team to say, hey, bro, I love the program y'all got going. I want to step in. Let me be a part of this aspect. But a lot of times, because it's not as glamorous, it's not as fly in our community, people don't just jump in there like that if they ain't already established in the industry. Like, we are the everyday man, like we talk about, but where's the everyday man to say, hey, yo, let me be a part of, I want to be a part of another week of the books. I want to be the marketer. I'm going, let's have a meeting, a Zoom, and I want to say, hey, let me step in here, yo. I want to chop up the clips. I got a little experience doing this. Those are the people that we need. Of course, like you said, we talked about a while ago, maybe in Indeed, but we need that person that has the mentality to say, hey, yo, I'm a part of the team, and I feel good and encouraged and fly about doing something that ain't necessarily like on air, on camera, but it's still fly and it's dope, and I'm a part of the program. But a lot of times, us in our community, more specifically anything, we love to be the star. We love to be seen. We love to be up front. But when it comes to being like behind the scenes like that, especially at our level, it's not as glamorous. So I feel like people are not as passionate to jump into that, but that's truly what we need when we talk about feel like you could do more.
That's fair. That is definitely fair. I would throw it back on you and I would ask you this. How well do you think that you can convince someone to sign up for that? Like, and I would say, take this into consideration. You know what you make from this, right? So imagine them doing that and applying that time, making probably less, because this is your vision.
Okay.
So it goes back to the Junior Soprano quote. He couldn't really sell it. You're not wrong when you say there are not enough people wanting to work in the background. However, there is an area of opportunity for people in the forefront to sell that dream of the company. That's what leaders have to be able to do. And a lot of times we fall short on that amongst each other in our community. We fall short on selling the person who is, again, I talked
Qualified.
to Drew about this, not even qualified, selling the person who won't get that recognition from the masses, but getting it from you is going to mean the world to them. So how do you sell that to them in the sense of they'll come on, they'll dedicate this many hours of the week out of their time from something that they're good at for something that you created? Like that's a hard sell,
It is a
especially in
hard sell.
today's time.
Especially today.
And
You're right.
like one of the hardest things for business owners that they don't prepare for is it's not the actual work that they don't sign up for. It's managing the people who are going to keep your business going. It's the person who gonna be up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock at night editing and putting shit out and not really receiving any accolades from it other than, hey man, good job, or did you put that out? Like, how do you keep or sell that person into, no, you're a part of this too. You should feel as good about this each week when an episode drops as I do, regardless if you're on air talent or not. So again, you're not wrong in you're saying that. However, there is a large onus that falls upon the people who are at the front of organizations, whether you're doing a trash company or you're doing a podcast. When you're trying to get more people into your team, how well do you sell the vision of what you're doing? And then that's where it goes back to that circle that we're talking about, doing more stuff, having more productivity. That's when a business plan comes into place. That's when you can go verbatim as to, hey, here's the mission statement. Are you signing up for this? It ain't just about editing videos every week. This is what this company is about. This is our expectation of you. And again, we talk about skipping steps. A lot of times we think, oh, I got that in my head. I know what the business model is supposed to be. I know how I can make money from this, but that's not going to sell someone. That ain't going to be the thing where somebody be like, you know what? I'm pumped. Have you ever went to a job and you've been excited about being there? Y'all have an all hands meeting, or y'all have this thing where, oh man, like that was pretty cool, man. They're giving us bonuses or whatever it may be. However they sell you on being there and enjoying it. Have you ever been in an organization that happened? Planned out. That shit planned all the way out, and that's a part of business. I learned that in business administration, just getting my degree from it recently. It all has to fall in a line with the two people or the people that started the business and the vision statement. You have to be able to sell people on that vision statement, not just the work that they're going to do, not just them liking your product. It has to be, okay, this is what we are about as a collective now, because I want you to be a part of the team. You're just as important to this as everybody else is. And I don't think a lot of people take the time to sell new people on that idea. So then you get people who come up with shit late. Now you think they bullshit. Now there's this underlying animosity amongst people in the friend group because one person said they do this and they didn't do it, and now nobody's talking about it, and it just snowballs into something that people that we don't feel comfortable as addressing, because we know we talked about conflict on this show, because it turns into something else. And you got it in your head, or people have in their head, okay, I ain't gonna say nothing to bro about this because I don't want it to turn into that. So all of those stigmas, a lot of the chapters that we've talked about add into that, because it's hard. Again, I'm not talking to you specifically. I'm speaking in general.
No, I got
it's very hard for you and I to be like, okay, let's put this on Indeed. Let's put this work rec out here and let's see how many people we get. And then in turn, having someone who is going to take it as serious as you and me because we sold them on the idea versus selling them on, yeah, I can do it. It's a lot of people that can do it. Are you bought into the idea? Are you going to stay up to 2, 3, 4 in the morning and do this because you know there's a deadline? When it snows on the ground, are you going to go pick up the trash cans for the person that you work for? Or are you going to be like, man, it's snowing. I ain't going to do that shit today, man. Like, all of that is buy-in. How much are you bought into the people that you're working with or for?
Yeah.
And it's hard to get buy-in.
It's hard. And everything you said makes sense. And I think to turn up the heat a little bit more, it's hard to sell somebody to be a part of it when the finance is not there. See, the business owner that you're talking about, when they start up the business and they need to get employees there, I don't have to do a lot of selling. When I put that $17 an hour, when I put that $28 an hour, that's the sale, nigga. But when it's something like this, where it's like,
well, that's a good point, because you're right.
like,
That
you
is,
know what I mean?
that's part of the sale. That's to get
to
get you to show up, though. That's to get you to show up.
No.
Now, how do I get you to perform?
Right.
How do I get you to do what we really got you here for? Like, yeah, the money here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay you enough to show up, like to make it worth your time. But now, how do I get you to give it your all? How do I get you to like really be into it, like I'm into it, and not look at it like, oh, he's making money off this, man. I ought to be making this, so I ought to be. No. I need you to be bought in like I'm bought in. Whether you're the doorman, whether you're the person at the front desk, you're the janitor, all of the people got to be bought into the overall vision for this shit to work. I don't need you half-ass cleaning the toilets, and now my employees going in there with shitty bathrooms and shitty sinks, and they going back out to the floor or whatever it may be. And it's a big circle of, a big snowball effect. So everybody got to buy in, even the janitor. Like they got to know, man, I'm going to clean the shit out of these toilets because these people like clean toilets. And if they got clean toilets, they're going to go sell some shit, or they're going to go podcast their best. Like it all plays into it. But you, the person at the top of it, the head of the snake, has to be the person that says, hey, this is the vision. Everybody come with me. This is your role. This your role. This your role. This your role. Are you with it? Cool.
And I'm with it, bro. And I'm
That's
at this.
rare, though. That's even rare. That's where, like, Nick, like, you go anywhere, you can tell people don't want to be at work, bro. They showing up for the, like you said, like you anywhere you go nowadays, you can tell, like, yeah, he's trying to be here.
Yeah, they doing the bare minimum to get the max out of their check, bro. Like, that's what we.
Yeah, it's very few places that you go where people are bought all the way in. Like they bought in and like, no, this is my shit. That's why I always show, like, I'm not sure if I was talking about it with you, like people that love their job, man. That we did talk about that, right?
I feel, bro.
Like,
I know that. I'm like, dang, I wish I felt like that.
I wish I knew that,
bro.
Joy.
I just had a conversation, bro. By the time y'all hearing this a day or two ago, but I just had a conversation with a lady at my job, and I've been in a space where I just been keeping it. I've been keeping it a glass of water, like straight up. Shouts out to Hollow the Don. Like I've been keeping a glass of water with people. Like people be like, hey Maurice, how you doing? I'm like, I'm all right. Are you getting any sleep? And I said, hey, it ain't even no point asking me that. Like, I'm sorry. Okay. I just
an angry black man.
No, right. I just thought I appreciate you asking me. Ain't no point of asking that. Like I have a newborn. I'm not getting sleep like that. I'm tired every day I'm in here. Don't you know? So I'm telling it. So another lady was like, hey, how's the sleep? And I was like, and I said the same thing. I was just kind of like, and me and her are a little more cool than maybe other people. And I was just like, because honestly, it's the same thing. It really ain't no point of like checking in on the sleep. I'm tired every day I'm in here, but I got a job to do. And then she was just like getting, white people get really concerned, they not like what I was talking about last week, but like they get really, so it's like this big concern of like, how are you doing? What's going on with you? What's this and what's that? State. And I kept it, I kept it so clear when I said, look, I got a lot going on. I have my moments of breakdown, but you'll never see it here. You ain't never gonna. Yeah, you'll never see it. Jeez. I said you'll never see it here, bro. Well, because that's me. I'm a walking open book, bro. I have zero problem. That's me. Like everybody else, to do how they want to do. Be Frank Lucas or whoever you think you is. But for me, it's
not even about that.
I'm gassing it. But for real though, like for me, like I grew up, my mom just like always telling us like, don't say nothing about this. Don't be quiet. Don't be telling people about this and that. And I always felt weird about it because I'm like, bro, I felt like I was being a portion of myself. And when I became grown, really? I just like, now I'm grown. It's like, if I'm comfortable with sharing, I'll share. I don't care what people think about me. Like, and I'm cool. I'm
but you can't give people too much though, right? Do you believe in that?
If you asked.
Well, yeah, you asked.
I'm not going out my way to give you anything. But like in regards to like my personal info. Huh. I'll we'll have a conversation, and then if it's open, if I'll see fit what I feel is worth giving in the moment, but I'm not gonna go out my way to volunteer. Like it ain't gonna happen as far as my personal. But like it was just one of the things. It's like, I just didn't want you to be sad. I'm cool. I'm good. I deal with things on my own, but I said other people because like I told y'all the other day, some lady was crying at work, and I was just like, in reality, that'll never happen with me here, because other people are invested, and so emotional connections come into this place. It will never happen to me because I'm not passionate about it, nigga.
Okay.
When people talk about real niggas, I look in the mirror. Facts.
I hear you. That's a bar. I don't know. I feel like you was a little harsh with the lady.
Well, because it was just, I wasn't trying to be harsh. It was just kind of a thing where, you know what's up. You know I got a newborn. You know I'm tired every day. You know this because you've asked and checked in. But it's like, just stop small talking me. Like anybody, whoever, stop small talking me. Like I'm not in a right now, bro. Like just the other day, bro. Like that's why I love my wife and I'm grateful for it, because like, bro, I have these mental breakdowns, bro, where I don't know what to do because of, like I spoke about it on one of our torn pages. I was like, bro, I'm having a hard time with life. People just in cruise control, just overlooking everything else. Like, man, bump that. I'm in for me. Let me get my stuff, bro. I'm having a hard time with life. And it's very hard for me. It's nothing like what I thought it would be as a child going into adulthood. And then even in the last 10, 15 years, the progression of society and technology, it's made it even harder for me. So it's like, when it comes to like small talking or like all that, and when my wife, I'm talking to her and I'm telling her like I'm having a moment, I'm like breaking down. I was like, bro, the pressure of, if I miss work, nigga, I don't know what the status of my living arrangement could be. I can't be at appointments and certain things because I can't afford to miss hours. Nigga, like when Brandon T. Jackson was talking about, I'm broke, nigga. Like, niggas don't understand that, but that was a real moment in Lottery Ticket. That was a real moment. It's like, I'm not broke. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, nigga, it's a lot of pressure and it's a challenge for me. So when I come to work and I'm grinding and I'm working hard, look, I'm just here to do my job. Please don't hit me with the I want you to be okay. And this, I appreciate it, but nigga, I don't have time for that.
You don't have time for well wishes?
No, because it's a lot of times, bro. A lot of times it just be some like, you're not going home thinking about me. And I don't mean that in some like weird way, but I mean like, you're not thinking, when you leave here, it's here. So just save it. Like I tried to make close relationships with, I've talked about it on here, with work people, and it backfired. So I never will lose perspective on who I'm dealing with. Now I got some buddies that I did work with. We did music together. So I have a good experience too. But overall, my experience is that it's cool. Let's not pretend to make it more than what it is. Like when you be like, oh, hey, you should come out to karaoke. It's not that. This is not that. I am trying to take care of my family, and this shit is hard, bro. It's hard, and it's just gotten harder. So for me, I just, which ties into everything we've talked about.
No, I appreciate you sharing that. That's a real vulnerable, good moment. Something that stuck out to me that if you want to elaborate, cool. If not, we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you think adulthood would be like when you were younger? You mentioned that. Like, what did you think that would be like?
Based on our perception of what was presented to us in, the sitcoms and the TV, and, as a teenager watching these things, and are we going to be dating?
But you grew up. How was your household when you grew up?
Like,
did you think that your go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Did you think that your upbringing or your situation coming up, did you think that it was going to affect you as an adult as much as it did? And that's a hard thing to ask.
I grew up, like when my dad came, I kind of look at how I grew up, like when he came back into the scene around 12, 13. A lot of stuff is a blur. It could be for many reasons. You're in therapy, so you know how it is when stuff is just, stuff is buried that you don't realize you buried for whatever your progression needed to be. But when he came back on the scene and we was a family, my idea was,
at what age?
Probably we moved to Kentucky at 11, so I'll probably say 13.
Okay.
So 13, now I'm remembering things. I could look back in this moment and remember stuff. Like a lot of stuff is a blur up until about 10, 11. There's pieces, but I don't remember everything. But like when he came back on the scene, we became like this family fully. We had real Christmases. My mom, my dad, I'm seeing smiles. I'm seeing laughter. I'm seeing arguments too, but I'm seeing things. And so regardless of the arguments and the laughter that they had, I'm thinking that it's figured out. And again, because our parents are not revealing the details of the bills. We're looking at, they going to the Kentucky Derby. They going out this weekend. We hanging out with our cousins now. They about to go on a date. We're not privy to the info. And now when you get to this, so my idea of it was like, okay, I knew that we had some kind of bills or something, like, as I got older and got a job, okay, you got bills. But I had no idea of the extent of how it governs your entire life, dude. Like, yeah. And then when you talk about
that's a great place. That's a great place to be at, because oftentimes I've thought, to answer the same question I asked you, one of my biggest misconceptions about life coming up was similar to what you said. Oh, they got everything figured out. Shit's going to be cool. Like it ain't that big of a deal. Dare I say, because I had a single mother again, but I had everything that I needed. Dare I say, not life is easy, but I didn't realize, just like what you said, you don't realize how much of a struggle that it is. If you ain't like all the way, like right now, you could be making $100,000 a year and be struggling, bro, as a single person with no kids, and still be like, damn, where's all my money going? Bro. Like that can still be happening to you right now, living check to check. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the same boat with you in the sense of, I thought everything was cool. Like you pretty much feel like that you see the TVs on, the families on TVs and stuff like that. Like, well, my family may be similar. Like, we got to worry about this, that, and the third. But as you get older and you start to piece two and two together, you see that wasn't the case. As a parent, which is what I think is going to be interesting about this conversation, how real do you keep it with your children, or will you keep it with your children knowing what you know now? Because for me, I wish someone had told me at 13, 14, 15, hey, you taking it too easy, bro. It's going to take a lot more than that to get what you want, to be comfortable out of life. It's going to take a lot more than saying, oh, well, where you want to be when you grow up? Well, I want to be successful. All right, well, what does that look like? I needed someone to ask me those questions before I turned 35, 40 years old. I needed someone to ask me that at 15, 16, 17 years old, so I can understand the importance of, oh, I don't want to drive to college today, so I'm skipping this class. Oh, I'm going to waste $20,000 on a semester that I completely flunked out on because I think that I have time to do this. But you look up and you're 41 years old and you remember when you were 20 and you were bullshitting, and it's because you thought that, oh, it's going to get easier as I get older, which it should, but that's only if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
And to your point, you've made mistakes, I've made mistakes. You look up and you're like, well, goddamn, I didn't realize how impactful that those mistakes were going to be, because no one kept it real with me. Yeah. Motherfuckers let me believe in Santa Claus. Y'all let me believe in these.
I ain't gonna say that they ain't keep it real.
That's what I'm asking you as a parent, because that's how I look at it.
Okay.
Even though my mom tried to.
How was your and just give me a brief answer. How was your childhood? Would you say it was good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a thing about, because you're on point, like you're nailing it. But while it's like I can reveal to you, I'm already here as the parent. And while it's a hard thing, it's easier said than done. I'm here, and yes, my parents periodically would tell me about things that it didn't register because I'm so young. It's too far out of under reach. But there's a thing where I don't want to weigh you down with the pressures that I see. Where you're at right now, you're seeing it from being the child and now an adult. But if you so choose to have children someday, I think that you will keep it real, but I think you will see it like when you see the innocence of your child, your son, your daughter, you'll be like, you know what? I want to share with them, but they still have such a belief and of good. See, children, their hopefulness is what keeps you going. Because while that bliss, bro, that bliss keeps me alive a lot of times, bro. When I just realized, like, that's what I was breaking down in tears for the other day with my wife. I was like, bro, the realization that, nigga, I got, no matter what, I got to get up and work. Ain't no resting, bro. Ain't no, I'm about to take a break, nigga, ain't none of that. If I take a day off, what is that gonna cost us? Ain't none of that, bro. At this period, at this moment in my life, ain't none of that. And my wife, and I told her, I said, and she's been so wonderful about it, but she was like, I don't want you to feel alone, but I know that you feel alone, and I do. It's wonderful advice for everybody. It's encouragement that, but it is just me, because I am the man. And that's what it is. It's great. It's glorious. Like, oh, I'm the man. I'm the man of the house. I'm leading it. Yeah, that's great. That's fly. You get it off. But nigga, that's a lot of pressure. Just like it is for a woman being a mother. It's a lot. Being an adult.
And you don't wish that anyone had shared that with you at a younger age?
I mean, sure. They could have shared it. I think that I don't that's not my, like I said, my parents would share like credit from time to time. But if we were all to be honest, we could say, yeah, sure, they should have shared. But the reality is, was we really listening, bro? Where
True.
we was at?
And I'm glad you said that, because that was going to be the next thing that I led into. When I was a child, what I appreciated most about my childhood and growing up was the freedom that I had. Like, niggas would put on punishment, and they go to the nigga's house, they couldn't come outside. Like, that was a foreign concept to me. Like, nigga, what?
So you never got in that type of trouble is what it is? Or you just
like, bro, one that I mean, I got in trouble, but there was no one to, like, again, my mom worked all day, bro. My mom went to work from 7:30 to 10 at night. She had two jobs, from 7:30 to 4, then from 4 to 5, she traveling to her other job, and from 5 to 10, she working a second job. There's nobody there to enforce a punishment on me, bro. I went to school from my great grandparents' house, not my grandparents, my great grandparents. So you talking about people that are 60, 70 years old. So can you imagine my mom, 20 years older than me, telling them, hey, when he come home from school today, he can't go nowhere? Bro, that's light work. Oh, I'm just going to the store real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, I know she said that. Come on, bro. So again, I couldn't imagine to put my head around punishment or curfews or things of that nature. I really appreciated that freedom as a child. As an adult,
and it goes a lot of sense to some of our previous episodes now. The curfew conversation that we had, all that makes so much more sense now.
What you mean?
Because your appreciation for discipline is not the same.
I hate it. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, because you
hate people telling me what to do, all of that, because I didn't grow up in an environment like that. It makes me feel like, who do you think you are? Like, why would you be able to tell me? But at the same time,
but you happen to get it right, though.
Advice. I appreciate advice. We can get into me getting it right, but what I wanted to address with you is, you're right. How were we listening? No, we weren't. Because I'm sure my mom told me that life is going to be hard and you're going to have to do this, that, and the third. I'm sure she did. What we do respond to as children is being disciplined or action. You got to give me $5 to $10 a week to put in savings. Well, why, Mom? Just because I said so. Because I want to get you into the pattern of saving your money and not wasting it running to the store every week and spending the whole $10 that you got. Those are the things that we do to instill. Like, some of the niggas that I seen, the same niggas that I'm talking about with curfews and couldn't go places and weren't at the teen club every week like I was there. Those niggas are lawyers. They're doctors. They're people who knew what it took to be disciplined enough to get the things that they want. When I was young and I was a teenager and had no discipline and just skirting through, figuring it out, having fun, you pay for that 20 to 30 years later. So when I say, or when I ask you, what would you tell them? It's not necessarily tell, but what tactics are you going to install in them? Because I'm a living testimony that had I had more stuff installed in me from a tactic standpoint versus a told standpoint, then I probably would be a lot more efficient in the things that I do. But since I did grow up in and you need to figure it out, I'm in that constant state of now at this age, you need to figure it out. But it lacks discipline. And that goes to the question that you asked me earlier. Well, what do you feel like you're missing and you're not doing? It's still going back to that preteen, teenage years of lacking discipline. That's still in the back of my head even now at 41. And when I'm talking about podcast stuff and getting these things accomplished, I know that I need to be a lot more disciplined in these things in order for them to work. And that's the hardest part of this, installing that discipline at 41 versus, I'm just going to watch the game real quick, because that's what my mind resorts to, because that's how I came up. And not please, no one listening think that I want to use that as an excuse, or I'm saying that I'm here there, because just putting thought process to how it plays out to when you get our age and when we're thinking like, damn, why didn't nobody tell me it was so hard? They're little small things that you pick up on as you get older. You're like, well, damn, that's how I got this way. And it's why it feels this way when these things are happening. And that's why it's so difficult for me to try to turn this train around. You had something good right there, but I wanted to get that out.
No, you hitting it on the nose, and it makes a lot of sense. I would say probably like realistically catching your kid as a freshman in college. That's where
That's
I feel
late.
like.
I think that's too late, bro.
I mean, I'm saying, bro, no, sure, it's too late, but the reality, bro, then it's not going to register. Maybe now, maybe with these kids it will, because of the information age we live in. It may register differently now. But in the time that we grew up without social media and how quickly you can get information on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, when we grew up where it's like it's this word of mouth, you just happen, like somebody you pull up and they be like, hey man, did you know this? Like in that era that we grew up in, not like it just wouldn't have stuck like that. It would have had to be.
Correct me if I'm wrong though. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Okay.
That's if you're concerned with being a cool parent. And this is me on the outside looking in, knowing you the way that I know you just from what we did, not on any more personal level than that. I feel like you will want to be a cool dad, right? You will want to be perceived as that.
I mean, is it only two? You feel like it's only two versions? Cool dad, disciplined dad.
No, I'm just saying. I didn't say that. I'm
asking because
okay, yeah, but I'm wondering before anything that's the dad that you would want to be.
Yeah, I mean, just like I wouldn't say cool, just an aware dad. That's probably better.
I think that's why you say wait to college though.
No, I'm not doing that. What I'm saying, I'm talking about in our era, because that's it takes for us.
It was over for me by freshman year in college.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But bro, in our era, we wouldn't have listened. There's not a point of time that it would have stuck with us unless our parents set us up to go through something all the way through and fail for us to get the point. If they don't set us up like that, we wouldn't have been listening. We're not going to hear them. And that era, now these kids, they have all of this information. I mean, these platforms to get info. So they may be more apt to at least say, I hear what you're saying, Pop. But so now, yeah, don't wait to college in this era, but I'm talking about in the era we grew up in.
Okay, that's fair what you're saying. I think that even in our era, it's not about doing something, us failing, and then them telling us a lesson. The thing that I'm speaking to is the discipline of doing the thing without knowing the result of it. Like I wouldn't save however much money a week, even if my mom asked me to, because I don't know why you're asking me to do this. It makes no sense to me right now. And she wasn't willing to, because that's why I asked about the cool parent. She wasn't willing to be like, nigga, it don't matter. Do it. I said it. You'll figure it out maybe when you're 40. Why I'm telling you to do this, because you're going to manage money a lot better. Or even when it's something as simple as cutting the grass. Like, yeah, Nick, go cut the grass. Why I gotta cut the grass? Why? Because I said so. Because you need that type of discipline, that type of routine installed in your life to where when you get 40, 41, 42, 43, you can implement that to things that are going to be a lot more important to you right now than cutting the grass. But just the lack of having someone to install that, you need a routine. Like we talked about last week. You
Last
need
week, yeah.
some sort
Structure.
of basis to structure to understand that this is what's applicable throughout life if you want to be successful. And it's going to be very hard if you wait and you read these self-help books and you go to therapy and you look at these YouTube videos and you see these people on Instagram, all of them that are telling you, hey, yeah, you may be going through this, and you try to change, it still doesn't make it any easier if for the previous 30 years you've been doing it the other way. Like, you got to catch yourself from slipping to like, oh, I shouldn't be sitting here right now watching The Sopranos for 3 episodes straight. I should be doing something else. But who's going to discipline you at 41, 42, 43 years old? So I think that has a lot to do with it, and that's why I asked.
You on it. And I think where we talked about on our college episode, we referencing a lot of we got a lot of chapters, y'all.
This
but
is
like,
a good episode to listen to and go back. And,
yes, this is like go reminisce,
and
like go back to some of the joints. But this is referencing like our college episode where like I know you had a different experience where it's like your focus wasn't really that, you was on something else. But for me, college, that's where I learned discipline, because I was like, oh, I don't have the I don't have the leaning post, and I wasn't even supposed to be there, nigga. So that experience.
See, my discipline.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say mine came from working though.
Okay.
And that's not a discipline. And there was no one to tell me that, bro, this ain't gonna benefit you later. All this is gonna show you how to do is how to show up for work every day. Yeah, you can have a check,
still
but this
count.
ain't gonna show you. It do. It do.
I still at that time, yeah.
To this day, I get credited for my professionalism. I don't show up late. I like, if I have a job, regardless how much I like it or not, I'm going to be a professional there because I've been doing this since I was 15 years old. I know how to work a job. And people, when you're around people at jobs, they like, oh, you professional. I wouldn't have expected this out of you, because most people like they ain't been working for 20, 30 years like I have. So a lot of that, like you said, yours came from college. Mine came from working an actual job, but that has its limitations.
Yeah. I mean, there's always recent developments when it comes to discipline, no doubt. Like it's because there's other areas. For example, and we'll get out of here, but like, for example, like I'm a vegetarian. I have great discipline in that area. A lot of people are like, oh, I couldn't even do it. But then I got other struggles. It's like, bro, why can't you take that same discipline on not eating meat, not eating these type of foods, these type of proteins? But when it comes to these struggles that you deal with over here, you can't seem to apply the same discipline. And that's a real thing, bro. It's a real thing. Like, people, this episode, I want to say for y'all, before we get out of here, like, I want y'all to read between the lines of what we're saying. Like, this is not about just money. This is not just about business. Read between the lines and exactly what we're saying as black men. This episode, I want y'all to really, if y'all got to run it back and really piece together, because everything we said in this episode ties into everything that was built prior to this moment. I know it's going to come off one way, but when y'all go back and listen to it again and piece it together, y'all going to know exactly where we're coming from. And some of y'all are in this exact phase in your own personal way. So I definitely just want to preface that. But what was you going to say, bro?
No, that was good. That was a good way to wrap it as far as prefacing it. You don't realize a lot of things until later. And you're working from behind the 8 ball once you realize those things. And now it puts you in a place that you were just speaking of. And I can attest to it. I've been there before too. It puts you in that place of pressure because you feel like, now that I know these things and I know what I need to do to change them, but I'm so deep in this hole, I'm so involved in this game that I don't want to be playing. It's hard for me to step away from this and actually feel fulfilled from what I'm doing or what I want. Like, I totally can understand that lack of, like, why do I got to do this every day? Like, why is this the thing that's necessary for me to survive?
It's scary, bro.
It is.
It's a scary
Yeah.
thing. Nobody will. I'm not gonna prolong it, but like people, it amazes me when people just like I come off one way. Like, shouts out to Rich. Rick said, I always use this because it's stuck with me. So Rich, if you when you listen to this, like, I ain't forgot, nigga. Like, where he says, I have the ability to make people feel comfortable and feel like they know me. There's a whole nother side to me. You have no idea. And that scared me when he first said it. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Relate to that. Yeah.
But then I thought about it with myself, and I was like, you know what? I have the same. Have yeah. So when we talk about having to work, having to do these things, while I can come off like, oh man, he's positive, he's this and that, bro. Y'all have no idea of the dark side of how much I really struggle, and that's where the show is so important.
You don't know how hard it was for me to get here this morning. You don't know how hard it was for me to just be like, or to put that smile on my face, bro, when I walked in here and to actually speak to you,
bro.
Yeah, like
they don't get it. Absolutely. Like, that's like when they talk about the suicide rate of black men, and that's a whole nother episode, a whole nother conversation. But when you see that and how thrown off people are when they find out this information, and they find out like they didn't give them no info, they didn't see the signs, bro. That's all I'm gonna say is, bro, y'all listen to this show and understand what's up. I'm gonna leave it there. And if y'all have more questions, y'all can hit us up 470-318-5034 or awitb2022@gmail.com. If y'all feel that y'all want to reach out a little bit more in that, but like, trust me, I got a song where I elaborated a little bit on those thinking and those thoughts. I'm not in that place because I got too much to live for. I got too much to protect. But trust me when I tell you I've been there, and it's a real thing.
A song that you recorded?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, guys.
It's called "End of the World."
I thought you were talking about a request, like a suggestion.
Oh no, the actual song I recorded, "End of the World." Yep. So it's online.
That was good, man.
Yes, sir.
You got to riff a little bit.
I can't believe that just happened.
No, that was good. I think a lot of people in that place where they need to hear that, man. Me included.
Me too.
I think, again, we're talking about that pitch meeting and going back, wrapping this all up to the beginning of the episode. This is what an episode, or this is what another week in the book offers that other people don't. Being that personable, not even like we haven't talked about anything current event wise or even what we had scheduled. It's just, this is how I'm feeling on a Friday
in real time.
And other people that are listening to me on a Friday may be feeling the same way. And this may have helped them. This may have enticed them to think a little bit more. This may have made them realize something, whatever it may be. That's what this space stands for. That's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I don't think anyone else is doing this.
No, and that it's, we're getting out of here, but that's crazy how we talked about what we talked about at the top end to get to this point. And it all makes, I think people understand where that comes from, how important it is for us to get to a place of generating because of statuses and in real time, which probably naming the episode, like in real time where we are and how important it is. Like, I always reference that Brandon T. Jackson lottery ticket moment. Like, it's like that. Y'all go back and watch that scene when he was talking.
Time you said that, it's totally over my head. What is it?
You ain't seen that? Okay, I'm gonna send you the clip. When you see the clip, you're gonna be like, "Oh wow, nigga!" It was one
with Lil Bow Wow.
Yeah, yep. Okay. The lottery ticket when they was on the roof. Remember they was having that conversation.
I ain't never seen it.
Okay, you don't even need to see it. I'm just gonna send you the clip. You're gonna be like,
"Okay,
oh wow, I got it." And when you see that, because that was like a powerful scene in a bad movie. So when I send that to you, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I got it now. But that's kind of, I ain't gonna say that's where I'm at, but that's the energy I'm pulling from as far as like, nigga, I gotta figure this out. You know, so that's, so, but yeah, man, nonetheless, man, we're grateful for y'all, man, listening in. That's what, like you said, that's what this show is for, to give y'all where we are in real time. and deal with real issues as Black men, men in general.
I will challenge everyone listening to this week.
Mm-hmm.
I challenge everybody listening to do one of two things. This is a challenge. I know how many people listen to this show, so I want to know how many people actually do this. This is a challenge for either you to reach out to us and tell us where you're at in real time, or reach out to one of your partners, one of your friends, your wife, someone who means a lot to you,
Mm-hmm.
and let them know where you're at in real time. So if you don't feel open or comfortable enough to send it to us and us reading it on air because you don't know me and Mo, you just turn us on every Friday because it gets you through your work day, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I will challenge you, the person that means the most to you, let them know where you at right now in real time. And if you're open enough and free enough to share it with us, put it on the IG, send it to the Gmail, send it to the voice note or the text. But I'd love to be able to go over that next week.
Me too.
To know where brothers are in real time. That's going to help us all out.
Yes, it is.
I challenge everyone listening. If you hear this, anyone that hears this, I challenge you to that. Even Mo may cut it and put it on IG. Who knows?
Hey, man, look, Spike said it best. And I thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, bro. I couldn't have said it better. Exactly. And shouts out to my wife because I had her in real time moment, you know, tears, everything. And this happens periodically. She understands that I have high highs and low lows, and I deal with that. But I ain't gonna get into a whole nother bag of it. But like Spike Lee said, he challenges you. We challenge you as another week in the books. Have a conversation with somebody in real time where you're at. It's okay to cry. If you need to cry, get it out. Because some of y'all are emotionally constipated. You've been holding in too much. Yeah, I'm not
That's
pausing.
such a bold term.
Yeah.
Term, though.
Okay, but you're held up. You're held up emotionally because you refuse to stop and deal with your real feelings. And when you do with it, just say it out loud. You will be surprised. If you will be.
I think a lot of us get caught up in it ain't even worth it for me to deal with my real feelings.
That part.
It's worth it. I promise.
How is this gonna help me? How's this gonna help me? My progress. Bro.
A lot of us default to that. It ain't even worth it. It ain't even worth for me to just spill the beans right now. It ain't worth it for me to get that emotionally worked up. But as I learned in therapy, there's something about, and you'll feel it when it happens. There's just something about releasing that shit. There's something about saying it. There's something about actually hearing yourself talk through it,
bro,
and verbalize where you are with somebody who you care about.
Facts. Ah, man. Wow.
This
show keeps surprising me, man. Spike Lou, I gotta get the hell out of here. Spike Lou, what you got going on, man? I never know where this is going. Every episode, this is just ridiculous. Like I don't know where we're going.
That's the wonderful thing about it. We came in here thinking to do one thing and reschedule and had to do an audible, and this is what we got from it. And I'm sure the people appreciate that, man. Y'all ought to know where I'm at by now. Check the Instagrams. Another week in the books, of course. On Deck TV podcast, Frames Per Second podcast, DeadEnd Sports podcast, Is the Mic Still On podcast, Good Earners podcast, all of the great stuff, man.
Let's go, Spike. You did it, bro.
Yes,
you did it seamlessly. Let's go.
Yes, absolutely.
No hezzy, no blocks. He got through the whole. Yeah, man. Y'all go check him out on all them joints. Yeah, absolutely. Man.
What you got for us?
I'm about to say the same things, but this show, Good Earners, and I got a little special something for y'all. Shouts out to School. Y'all go subscribe right now. Shouts out to Rich, Ray P, Culture Garden podcast, School Guilty Pleasures. He reviews movies that are considered bad, or maybe they're good, or maybe they're not. You know, and that's his niche. As far as his on his solo tip, he had me and his friend Rio on, and we reviewed Love Don't Cost a Thing, one of my favorite movies that I know is not really a good movie, but we really cooked. So by the time y'all hearing this, it may be out today or it may be next Friday. I'm not sure. It depends. However he want to executive release that episode, but y'all go subscribe to the Culture Garden podcast now. We had such a great time, and man, I had so much fun talking about that movie, bro. And it got deeper than we thought it would as far as like themes and concepts. So y'all go subscribe to Culture Garden. And y'all go check out School's Guilty Pleasures, man. And of course, Rose
check that
coming
out,
soon.
man. Shout out to School, shout out to Ray P, shout out to Rich, all the good people over there. We appreciate y'all y'all go check out their podcast. Shout out to everybody that listens to this and gets something from it on a weekly basis, man. Thank you.